You can hear all my audiobooks, including those not shared on YouTube, by following the links below at Gumroad and Patreon. Thank you for your support. The Governance of China, Volume 4, by Xi Jinping. Section 21, Party Self-Reform for Social Transformation. Implement the party's organizational guideline for the new era. Part of the speech at the 21st Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee, June 29, 2020. It takes the efforts of the whole party to fully implement its organizational guideline for the new era. We must have a thorough understanding of its rich content and requirements. In implementing the guideline, we should stay true to our goal, adopt a problem-solving approach, and deliver results. First, we should uphold and improve the party's leadership and follow and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics. The party's organizational guideline is determined by its sound political guideline and serves to ensure that the sound political guideline is implemented properly. The party exercises overall leadership over all areas of endeavor in our country. This is the most important guideline the party has developed in leading the people in the course of revolution, construction, and reform. The fundamental purpose of strengthening the party's organizations is to uphold and improve overall party leadership and to provide a strong guarantee for advancing the cause of socialism with Chinese characteristics. During the War of Liberation, the Party Central Committee called for the preparation of a well-trained force for the day when political power would be won nationwide. In less than 3 months, the party's organizational departments at all levels sent 53,000 party officials to work in the newly liberated areas. In the years from 1952 to 1954, in order to carry out large-scale economic construction, more than 160,000 people were transferred to the industrial sector across the country, among whom more than 3,000 assumed leading positions in key Soviet-aided factories and mines. In 1956, the Party Central Committee issued a call to encourage intellectuals to dedicate themselves to socialist development. By the end of June 1957, more than 17,500 of 110,000 senior intellectuals in China had joined the party. Many scientists of the older generation, such as Li Siguang and Qian Shui-sen, joined the party in the 1950s. Footnote 1. Li Siguang, 1889 to 1971, was a Chinese geologist and one of the founders of China's geomechanics. End of footnote 1. Footnote 2. Qian Shui-sen, 1911 to 2009, was a Chinese physicist and the pioneer of engineering, cybernetics, mechanics, aerospace engineering, systems science, and systems engineering in China. End of footnote 2. Returning to the main text. Now, we expect to accomplish the first centenary goal and embark on a new journey towards the second centenary goal of building a modern socialist country in all respects. Today's world is going through profound and complex changes, and we are faced with risks and challenges, both foreseeable and unforeseeable. We should be fully aware of this complexity and these challenges, and we should pursue the goal of national rejuvenation in the context of a world facing a scale of change unseen in a century. If we are to respond effectively to daunting challenges, diffuse risks, remove major obstacles, and resolve serious problems, and if we are to succeed in our great historic struggle with many new features and achieve the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, we must ensure the leadership of the party. Upholding party leadership first and foremost means upholding the authority of the Party Central Committee and its centralized, unified leadership. We should see to it that all party members closely follow the party's central leadership in thinking, action, and political orientation. We should also see to it that party committees and party leadership groups at all levels, as well as primary level party organizations in all sectors, perform their political and organizational functions. We should unite and energize party members, officials, professionals, and the general public so that they will come together and become a powerful force to build socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era. Second, we should arm all party members with the party's sound theories. The party's organization is the body, while its vision is the soul, so to speak. To strengthen the party's organization, we should build up the body and, more importantly, shape its soul. The party has succeeded in accomplishing a mission that no other political force in modern China was able to complete, and it has led the people in making great achievements in revolution construction and reform. What has made this possible is that the party has always followed Marxism as its guide to action, and informed all its members about the latest achievement in adapting Marxism to China's realities, and this has created a shared vision, a strong will, great strength, and a powerful capacity to act in concert in our party. As the largest political party in the world, our party should act in a way commensurate with its status, although it faces various problems that come with size. It is especially difficult for the whole party to maintain a high degree of unity in thinking and theory. We must arm the party with Marxism, especially the thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Party organizations at all levels, party members and officials, and especially we leading officials, should know how to use the theoretical weapons of Marxism, improve our ability to apply theory in practice, and to turn the party's new thinking into a force for advancing the cause of socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. We, in party committees at all levels and our organizational departments, should take the party's sound theories as the guide to consolidating the party's organizations. We should promote reform and open a new ground under new conditions, move ahead with the times, gain a good understanding of how to conduct the party's organizational work, and be creative in our work. This will provide a strong organizational base for accomplishing the party's historic mission in the new era. Third, we should improve the party's organizational system. A well-knit organizational system is the source of strength of a Marxist political party. Lenin said, quote, "The proletariat can, and inevitably will, become an invincible force only through its ideological unification on the principles of Marxism being reinforced by the material unity of organization." End quote. Footnote, V.I. Lenin, One Step Forward, Two Steps Back, V.I. Lenin, Collected Works, Volume 7, English edition, Progress Publishers, Moscow, 1961, page 412. End of footnote. Our party has established a well-functioning organizational structure consisting of the central, local, and primary level units. This comprises 3,200 local party committees, 145,000 party leadership groups and party working committees, and 4.68 million primary level party organizations. This is a strength no other political party in the world has. The strength of the party's organizational system can be fully unleashed only when our central, local, and primary level party units maintain their strengths and play their roles. Only with a tight-knit organizational system where party units at all levels are well-developed, well-functioning, closely connected, and competent in policy implementation can the party exercise effective leadership, just as the brain directs the arms and the arms employ the fingers. Footnote 4. Liu Zhong, Records of Major Events of the Dynasty. Liu Zhong, dates unknown, was a scholar of the Southern Song dynasty, 1127 to 1279. End of footnote. This is why we emphasize that priority should be given to strengthening the organizational system and implementing the party's organizational guideline for the new era. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, we have worked to strengthen the party's organizations as a priority. We have done this first and foremost by strengthening the Central Committee and the Political Bureau and its Standing Committee. In the party regulations we have formulated, high standards are set for comrades in the central leadership team. This requires them to play an exemplary role for the rest of the party in observing the party's discipline and rules, and fulfilling their political responsibility for exercising governance over the party. Central party and government departments should take the lead in implementing the decisions and action plans of the Central Committee and must not erect any roadblocks. We must implement the regulations on the work of party leadership groups and on the party's working bodies so as to turn central party and government departments into models in keeping political commitment, observing discipline, taking responsibilities seriously, and carrying out duties effectively. Local party committees are the main channel in implementing the Central Committee's decisions and action plans, and this channel must not be impeded. We must fully implement the regulations on the work of local party committees to build them into strong organizations that resolutely follow the lead of the Central Committee, exercise strict and effective self-governance and supervision, maintain high cohesion, and have a high degree of integrity. The primary level organizations are the last mile in implementing the Central Committee's decisions and action plans, and they must not be allowed to drag feet or take no action. We must pay greater attention to strengthening primary-level party organizations, rectify the weak and the slack ones, address shortcomings in their work, and ensure party organizations and their work cover all sectors. This will enable these organizations in different sectors to play a key role in exercising party leadership. At the same time, we must recruit new high-caliber party members, strengthen the commitment of all party members, and keep them well managed, so that they can be the vanguard and the models in advancing reform and development and ensuring stability. We in the party organizations at all levels should continue to strengthen our ability to provide political leadership and theoretical guidance, and to organize and inspire the people. We can thus rally all the people closely around the party. Fourth, we should build a core contingent of administrative officials and talent of all disciplines. As an ancient Chinese philosopher observed, if a country has a huge pool of talent, good governance is ensured. Otherwise, poor governance is unavoidable. Footnote, Mo Zi. End of footnote. Managing human resources, including officials and talent, is essentially a matter of how to put people to good use. To respond to changes, create new opportunities, and open new horizons to rejuvenate our country. The key is for us to strengthen the party's leadership teams at all levels and to train high-caliber officials. As I have said before, great decisions and implementation plans will come to nothing if they are not implemented by competent people. The party's organizational guideline for the new era requires that officials be selected on the basis of both integrity and competence, with greater emphasis on the former. Officials with competence but no integrity will ruin our cause. Those with integrity but no competence will weaken our cause. Only those with both integrity and competence can ensure the success of our cause. Our party emphasized at the fourth plenary session of its 19th Central Committee that strengthening the governance capacity of officials is a major task in the new era. We should give officials more training in theory to strengthen their political commitment, hone their skills, and give them more hands-on practice. We should urge all officials to perform their duties and exercise their power in strict accordance with all relevant regulations. We in the party organizations at all levels should set high standards of political commitment and integrity for officials. We should not allow anyone with a dubious political stance or lack of integrity to present themselves as an effective performer. We must also set strict standards of qualification and competence for officials, appoint leadership teams, and use capable officials with passion and vigor to meet the needs of development. This way, we can identify and appoint officials who are enterprising, devoted to their jobs, and able to deliver results. We should select and train younger officials from among the best, focusing on the quality of candidates. We should not be impatient as if trying to help shoots grow by pulling them up. Still less should we lower our standards for officials. High-caliber younger officials, once selected, need to be properly trained and managed. We should strengthen political and professional training of officials so that they will honor their political commitment and have a good command of theory and the professional skills and know-how to respond to the call of our times. We should reform the human resources management system and improve the supervision mechanism with a view to ensuring that our officials keep their political commitment, perform their duties properly, practice the code of conduct, and observe discipline. This reform should aim for greater career mobility, providing opportunities for officials to move up or down and in or out, and promoting the competent and awarding the high performers, while demoting the mediocre and dismissing the poorest performers. We should build and improve incentive and protection mechanisms to encourage officials to fulfill their duties, live up to their responsibilities, and resolve tough issues, and we should provide them with proper support. We should accelerate the reform of institutions and mechanisms for managing human resources and remove institutional obstacles to recruiting, training, using, evaluating, rotating, and motivating staff. We should implement a more proactive, open, and effective human resources policy to form a sound human resources system with international competitiveness to pool competent people of all disciplines and to put them to the best use. Fifth, we should improve the party's organizational system. Democratic centralism is the fundamental organizational and leadership principle of our party. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the Central Committee has formulated and revised a range of party rules and regulations. They include guidelines for internal party activities under new circumstances and regulations on the work of party leadership groups, on the work of local party committees, on the party's working bodies, on the work of party branches, and on the work of primary-level party organizations in rural areas, state-owned enterprises, and party and government departments. At its fourth plenary session, the 19th Central Committee incorporated into the state and governance systems the principle that optimizing and safeguarding the party's centralized unified organizational system is an important means of upholding and improving the party's leadership system. The competent departments of the Central Committee and party committees and party leadership groups at all levels should take concrete steps to implement the party's organizational rules and regulations and to meet the requirements of the Central Committee in light of their specific conditions. Efforts should be made to establish a complete and sound set of systems and institutions, including those for the setup, operation, management, and supervision of party organizations. Efforts should also be made to improve and enforce the system under which party committees and party leadership groups assume primary responsibility in strictly enforcing party discipline. All these efforts to strengthen the party's organizations should be institutionalized, standardized, and well conceived. The battle against corruption is first and foremost a political issue. Excerpts from the speech at the fifth plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, January 22nd, 2021. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, I have reiterated that the battle against corruption is first and foremost a political issue. There are 5 reasons. First, corruption is the worst of the factors that most seriously undermine the foundations of our party's governance. It can bring about the most serious damage and harm, and may even lead to the loss of power. It is the most dangerous threat to the party. The fight against corruption is a major political struggle that we cannot and must not lose. We must go all out and win it. Second, our party has taken a clear political stance against corruption and in favor of building clean government. This is an essential requirement for upholding its nature and purpose, and a major and long-term political task for its self-reform. We must declare our party's resolute opposition to corruption and leave no place for corrupt officials to hide within the party. Third, political corruption is the most serious form of corruption. We must eliminate all hidden political threats from within the party and resolutely prevent vested interest groups from arising within the party. If they usurp party power, or if leading party officials become their agents or even form their own cliques, the nature of our socialist country will change. Fourth, the people's support is of paramount importance in governance. The people resent corruption most. If we let a few hundred corrupt officials slip through the cracks, we are letting down all 1.4 billion Chinese people. This is the simple arithmetic of politics and popular support. If we are to unite the party, the military, and the people, and lay solid political foundations for the party's governance, we must intensify our effort to improve party conduct, enforce party discipline, and fight corruption. Fifth, we are engaged in an ongoing drive to improve party conduct, build clean government, and combat corruption. We must take resolute and sustained action to win this prolonged battle in the spirit of leaving our mark in the steel we grasp and our print on the stone we tread, so that our party will maintain its political integrity. From the perspective of improving party conduct, building clean government, and combating corruption, we must increase our political acumen. This means taking China's political security as the top priority, putting the people first, and upholding and developing Chinese socialism as the fundamental principle. Thoroughly understanding the political nature and hazards of various types of corruption, and discerning between right and wrong, effectively guarding against risks, and overcoming challenges to keep our country from changing its nature. We must reinforce our political understanding. This means having a thorough understanding of the Central Committee's efforts to improve party conduct, build clean government, and combat corruption. Having a sound understanding of the Central Committee's major policies, principles, and actions on strict governance over the party, conscientiously keeping in alignment with the Central Committee. We must also strengthen our political capacity to deliver. This means improving party conduct and combating corruption in the direction determined by the Central Committee, conducting regular self-examination against our goals and standards, and promptly rectifying any deviation, strengthening our sense of responsibility to ensure full implementation of all measures. Focus of the education campaign on CPC history. Part of the speech at the preparatory meeting for the education campaign on CPC history, February 20th, 2021. The CPC Central Committee has set clear guidelines in its notice to launch this education campaign, requiring party members to study party history for deeper understanding, firmer commitment, greater integrity, and stronger action. The campaign seeks to help party members, through studying party history, to better understand the theories it espouses, work effectively, and achieve new successes. First, the campaign will help party members better appreciate and proactively apply the party's innovative theories. Theories and ideas give people power. Theoretical thinking and guidance are pivotal for a nation to be ahead of the times. At a moment of great peril for modern China, China's communists rescued the country with Marxism-Leninism and went on to adapt it to the Chinese context. Through the truths of Marxism, the millennia-old Chinese civilization has revived and become a great source of inspiration. Our experience has shown that Marxism offers an inexhaustible theoretical wellspring for us to seek truth, understand the world and its laws, and transform it. Therefore, Marxism must always be the guiding philosophy of the party and the state. The lifeline of a theory lies in its innovation. Marxism has profoundly changed the course of China's history, which has in turn developed and enriched Marxism. Over the past century, our party has sought truth from facts while freeing the mind and broken new ground while maintaining its orientation and consolidating its foundations. In this way, it has broadened the dimensions of Marxism with Mao Zedong thought, Deng Xiaoping theory, the theory of three represents, the scientific outlook on development, and the thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, providing sound guidance for the party and the people. The party's history embodies an ongoing process of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context and exploring innovative theories and ideas. The campaign will help party members to gain insight from the party's epic journey into the profound changes that Marxism has brought to China and the wider world, appreciate the philosophical and practical power of Marxism, and recognize both theoretical continuity and innovation in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. With a focus on reviewing the historic successes and changes in the party and the country since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the campaign aims to deliver a better understanding of the party's innovative theories for the new era and encourage sustained efforts to study the latest theoretical developments and apply them to our future work. Second, the campaign will help party members to better understand the general laws and trends of history and steer the course of the party and the state. History indeed has its laws, but this does not mean that people are completely passive. As long as we follow the general laws and trends of history and leverage opportunities for change accordingly, we can achieve greater success. More than 170 years ago, Marx and Engels systematically revealed the historical law that socialism would eventually replace capitalism. This general trend of human society is irreversible, but it is a lengthy process during which we need to be rooted firmly in reality, control the course of each stage, and to make solid and steady progress. By analyzing historical trends against the basic tenets of Marxism, the party has properly handled the relationship between China and the world in general, and made good use of every opportunity available over the past century. Our party was born in response to the call of history when socialism gained global momentum, following the victory of Russia's October Revolution. Since then, the party has been at the forefront of the times. Acting upon the call to save the country and fight against fascism during the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, 1931 to 1945, and global war against fascism, the party pushed for a national united front against Japanese aggression and led the Chinese people to total victory over the aggressors. The founding and consolidation of the PRC was a result of conforming to the times, as socialism was gaining greater traction and national liberation movements were surging in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The new republic established a firm foothold as righteous revolutionary causes carried the day around the world. Thanks to our thorough understanding of the prevailing trends of the times, we made the major decision to reform and open up in 1978. Then, the world was experiencing rapid economic and technological development, while the gap between China and the advanced countries was widening. Deng Xiaoping noted, "We must keep abreast of the times. That is the purpose of our reform." Footnote 1. Deng Xiaoping. We Shall Speed Up Reform. Selected Works of Deng Xiaoping, Volume 3, English edition. Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1994, page 239. End of footnote 1. Based on a sound assessment of the prevailing trends, the central authorities decided to shift the focus of the party and the country onto economic development and therefore proceeded with the landmark policy of reform and opening up. It is wiser to avail oneself of a favorable situation than to rely on one's mere wisdom. Footnote 2. The Mencius, Mengzi. This is one of the Confucian classics, written by Mencius and his disciples. Mencius, circa 372 to 289 BC, also known as Meng Ke or Zi Yu, was a philosopher, thinker, and educator in the Warring States period. End of footnote 2. We cannot see far or advance further if we do not know and understand history. This education campaign will help all party members to be clear about China's strategy of realizing national rejuvenation within the context of a wider world that is undergoing change on a scale unseen in a century. To establish a comprehensive and balanced view of history, to understand the dynamics of evolution and the laws of history by analyzing history, the times, and the world from a broader perspective, and to devise systematic, forward-looking, and innovative strategies as appropriate. Third, the campaign will help CPC members better understand the party's nature and purpose and to maintain its distinctive features as a Marxist party. Our party comes from the people, with its roots in the people, and its lifeline sustained by the people. Our party was born for the people, and has prospered because of the people. It is the ultimate goal of the party to always stand together with the people and work for their interests. Our party's history records a century-long journey to fulfill its original aspiration and founding mission, and to dedicate its mind and soul to the people, and share their weal and woe. Among more than 300,000 revolutionaries who died after the failure of the Great Revolution, 1924 to 1927, most were supporters of the CPC. During the Red Army period, 1927 to 1937, the people built a formidable defense in support of our party and the Red Army. During the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, the party mobilized the masses and overwhelmed the enemy with a vast people's war. The party won the Huai Hai campaign, 1948 to 1949, with supplies transported in wheelbarrows by the people. It won the Nanjing, Shanghai, Hangzhou campaign across the Yangtze River in 1949, with boats provided and rowed by the people. Progress in socialist revolution and construction was realized through the people's hard work, and it is also the people who have played the main role in the great program of reform and opening up. History has made it clear to us that the country is the people and the people are the country. Winning public support is vital to our party's survival. The party can conquer any difficulties and become invincible if it wins the people's trust and support. Otherwise, it will achieve nothing or even be doomed to failure. The party constitution states in its first line that the Communist Party of China is the vanguard of the Chinese working class, the Chinese people, and the Chinese nation. It also prescribes the principles of serving the people wholeheartedly, always putting the interests of the people above anything else, sharing weal and woe with them, and maintaining the closest possible ties with them. To uphold these principles, we must respect the people's principal role in making history, which represents the law of social development. We must pursue the lofty goal of communism and accomplish the party's work, all in the interests of the people. We must always engage with the people, sharing weal and woe, and stand together with them through thick and thin. We must educate and guide all party members so that they will have a better understanding of the party's nature and purpose. We do everything for the people and rely on them for everything we do. It is important to always put the people first and to meet their expectation for a better life as our abiding goal. We should work to ensure that reform and development offer greater benefits to all the people in a fair way. and that further substantial progress is achieved in the pursuit of common prosperity, so that our 1.4 billion people can come together as a mighty force for the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Fourth, the campaign will help CPC members improve their capacity to address risks and challenges through studying party history, drawing on past experience to build a greater capacity to diffuse risks and meet challenges has been a key to our party's success. The party's experience has come neither out of thin air nor from any textbook. Rather, the party has accumulated its experience in trials and tribulations through the successes and failures over the years. It attests to the hard work, sacrifice, fortitude, and wisdom of party members. At present, China is facing unprecedented risks and challenges, both at home and abroad, both conventional and unconventional, in politics, the economy, culture, social affairs, and the eco-environment. The situation can be exacerbated by the sudden occurrence of black swan and gray rhino events. To better deal with foreseeable and unforeseeable risks and challenges on our way forward, we need to draw inspiration from history and search the past for optimal solutions. When reviewing the party's revolutionary experience, Mao Zedong listed the United Front, armed struggle, and strengthening the party as the three principal magic weapons of the party. These magic weapons played an important role in our victory in the New Democratic Revolution, 1919 to 1949, and they are still playing a crucial role to this day, on several important occasions, including the 95th anniversary of the CPC, the 40th anniversary of the launch of Reform and Opening Up, and the 70th anniversary of the PRC. I have summarized the party's experience from multiple perspectives. Approaching the party's centenary, we should seize this critical opportunity to push forward the great historic struggle by grasping its new features and applying the full wealth of experience we have accumulated during different periods in countering risks and meeting challenges. We should be prepared in both thought and deed to respond to long-term changes in the external environment. We must reinforce our commitment, enrich our experience, and build up our ability to meet challenges head-on. While building up our governance capacity, we must have plans in place for the worst possible scenarios as we strive for the best results. It is easier to breach a fortress from within. In this sense, degeneracy, corruption, and betrayal from within the party have been the gravest threat since its founding. The party would lose the people's support if it betrays its political character as a Marxist party and its fundamental purpose. Over its century-long journey, our party has stayed alert to risks of corruption and disintegration and maintained its progressive and wholesome nature. Through education and guidance, all party members should learn from history how to address problems in relation to strengthening the party, improve the party's leadership and governance, and reinforce its ability to resist corruption and withstand threats. This will ensure that the party always remains ahead of the times as the world progresses and profound changes occur. This will also ensure that the party always remains the spine of the nation as China responds to risks and challenges at home and abroad, and a strong leader as the country continues to uphold and advance socialism with Chinese characteristics. Fifth, the campaign will inspire party members to carry forward the revolutionary spirit. It will give them motivation and the will to always work hard with great enthusiasm. As you move on, the road ahead is bound to be strewn with difficulties and obstacles. Footnote 3. Yuan Hao Wen. To the Hall of Destiny of Li Yanren in Linfen. Yuan Hao Wen, 1190 to 1257, was a writer and historian of the Jin dynasty. End of footnote 3. The party has experienced countless trials and hardships, and made sacrifices on a scale that few other political parties in the world could endure. On its arduous 100-year journey, our party has tempered its character with the courage to vanquish formidable enemies, counter serious threats, and fight and win victories. This has become the party's defining quality and character. The past 100 years have witnessed the extraordinary, tenacious, and unwavering efforts of generations of China's communists, spearheaded by dauntless revolutionary martyrs, hard-working heroes, and devoted role models. These efforts have given rise to the revolutionary spirit of the Jinggangshan, the Long March, and the Zunyi Meeting, to the revolutionary spirit of Yan'an, Shi Bai Po, and Hongyan, to the spirit demonstrated in the war to resist U.S. aggression and aid Korea, in the development of China's first atomic and hydrogen bombs, missile, and man-made satellite, and in the experimentation with special economic zones, to the spirit forged in battles against floods, earthquakes, and other natural disasters, and in the fight against COVID-19. Together, these constitute a long line of principles inspiring China's communists. In short, it is this revolutionary spirit and selfless dedication that hold the key to the party's lasting vigor and vitality through all the trials and tribulations of the past 100 years. These invaluable principles endure and transcend time and space. They manifest the party's firm convictions, defining purpose, and finest traditions, and epitomize the hard-working, selfless, and pioneering character of party members. They have been instilled into the lifeblood of the party and the Chinese nation, and have provided a powerful driving force for the party to survive, prosper, and grow in strength. We should be conscious of the risk that the party's extensive term in governance and the enduring peace in our country might dilute the drive of some party members and officials. Some rest on the status quo, thinking the time is right to slow down and take things easy, and lacking the drive to make progress or take on responsibilities. Some rest on their laurels or make a token effort in their work, assuming that they have reached the finish line of their career. Some concern themselves too much with personal gains and losses, and pursue pleasure, fame, and fortune instead of taking on their due responsibilities. Some lack the will and courage to meet the challenges head-on, and tend to evade problems and pass the buck to higher-ups, accustomed as they are to playing the role of a conduit. I have emphasized on many occasions that communists should instill in themselves the spirit of carrying the revolution through to the end and emulate the resolve and determination of the older generation of revolutionaries who chased down the last remnant of the enemy till the whole land was liberated, rather than giving up halfway. We communists should carry forward the dauntless spirit in our efforts to create a new China. I have underlined this for a reason. Just imagine how difficult it is for a country with 1.4 billion people to realize socialist modernization and the significance of that achievement. All party members should be required to pass down the revolutionary faith and tradition, maintain the source of their strength and the dauntless spirit to prevail, and embark with drive and enthusiasm on a new journey to achieve our goals for the new era. Sixth, the campaign will bolster the unity and solidarity of the party and ensure concerted action. Taking a clear political stance and ensuring the party's unity and solidarity are its lifeblood and the key to its historic successes over the past century. History has demonstrated that the whole party, acting with one mind, can rally all the Chinese people and build them into an invincible force that will defeat the most powerful enemy and overcome the most daunting obstacle. The top and long-term priority in reinforcing the party's political foundations is to ensure that the whole party defers to the Central Committee and upholds its authority and centralized, unified leadership. The Zunyi meeting in 1935 marked a turning point in the party's history. It was convened at a critical moment when the Long March had just begun, after the Red Army had failed to break the Kuomintang's fifth campaign of encirclement and suppression and had suffered great losses. At the meeting, Mao Zedong was affirmed as the leader of the Central Committee and the Red Army. The meeting also laid the groundwork for establishing the leading position within the Central Committee of the correct Marxist line, chiefly represented by Mao Zedong, as well as for the formation of the first generation of the Central Collective Leadership with Mao Zedong at its core. The meeting opened a new chapter in which the party would set its own course to address practical problems concerning the Chinese Revolution. At a moment of great peril, the meeting saved the party, the Red Army, and the Chinese Revolution. After the Zunyi meeting, however, it took a long time for the whole party to fully realize the importance of upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized, unified leadership, and to turn this realization into conscious action. During the Long March, when solidarity was most called for, Zhang Guotao set up a second Central Committee, relying on the strength of his troops, and attempted to split the party and the Red Army. Again, in the early days of the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, Wang Ming formed self-serving factions, ignored party discipline, and disobeyed the Central Committee. This once again taught us a bitter lesson. During its Yan'an period, 1935 to 1948, the party launched a large-scale rectification movement to address divisions and factionalism within the party. The movement was exceptionally effective in strengthening solidarity and unity throughout the party, and laid solid ideological and political foundations for winning the war against Japanese aggression and realizing national liberation. As long as the fundamental principles are upheld, all work will fall in place. Footnote: Lu's Spring and Autumn Annals. This is a collection of work from different schools of thoughts compiled by the followers of Lu Bu Wei, unknown to 235 BC, chief minister of the state of Qin during the Warring States period. End of footnote. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, we have made an all-out effort to reinforce the party's political foundations, improve the system for upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership, and consolidate the unity of the party. Nevertheless, we should take note that some party members and officials still lack political awareness and acuity, and fail to observe and solve problems from a political perspective. They do not care about matters of fundamental national interest, and to pay little attention to the party's political requirements, rules, and discipline. Nor do they concern themselves with the adverse political implications of various problems. They only make a perfunctory effort to implement the policies and guidelines of the Central Committee. They have yet to translate the party's political requirements into their own initiative. Upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership requires action rather than empty talk. The whole party should learn from both the successful experience and bitter lessons of the past, act consistently with the Central Committee, and strengthen their political acumen, understanding, and capacity to deliver. They should strengthen their commitment to the four consciousnesses, the four-sphere confidence, and the two upholds. All party members should keep in line with the Central Committee in thinking, action, and political orientation, to ensure that the whole party pulls together towards the same goal with one mind. Study party history to generate understanding, commitment, integrity, and action. Excerpts from speeches made between March 22nd and July 23rd, 2021. Fujian is an old revolutionary base area, a place where many events in the party's history took place, and a place that is home to many revolutionary forefathers. Its wealth of revolutionary resources gives it unique advantages as a venue for studying party history and conducting related educational activities. Through studying history, we can have a better understanding of our cause, which is the premise to boost our commitment, integrity, and action. From the party's splendid achievements, arduous journeys, historical experience, and fine traditions, we can have a good understanding of the capability of our party, the practicality of Marxism, and the strengths of socialism with Chinese characteristics. We can draw from the historical, theoretical, and practical background, understand the necessity to uphold party leadership from a historical perspective, and strengthen our confidence in it. We can comprehend the truth of Marxism and the innovative theories developed by our party in the process of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context, and be proactive and resolute in applying these theories. We can develop a profound understanding of the reason why socialism with Chinese characteristics is right for China and why it is the only right choice for us to make. We will strengthen grassroots party organizations. We must continuously strengthen the fight against corruption to ensure that our officials dare not, cannot, and will not engage in corruption. And we must continue to consolidate and develop a healthy political ecosystem. From the speech during a visit to Fujian Province, March 22nd to March 25th, 2021. Guangxi is rich in revolutionary resources. It should make full use of these resources in the education campaign on CPC history and ensure that party members affirm their political commitment. In other words, through studying party history, we will have stronger faith, firmer convictions, and greater confidence, which will inspire us to overcome difficulties, defeat enemies, and secure victories. We should reinforce our faith in Marxism and communism and guide party members and officials to draw strength from our faith from the party's endeavors over the past century, maintain a strong will, and prevail over severe challenges. We should strengthen our faith in socialism with Chinese characteristics and guide party members and officials to fully understand that socialism with Chinese characteristics is the logical result of China's historical development, the only way to develop China, and a truth that has been tested in practice. We should remain confident in the path, theory, system, and culture of Chinese socialism. We should build greater confidence in the prospects for national rejuvenation. We should guide party members and officials to stay true to the party's original aspiration and founding mission, to have confidence in the party's capability to unite the people and lead them in realizing the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation along the path of Chinese socialism, and to realize the historic achievements required of this generation in the new era. Faith and convictions are the most effective weapons against corruption. We should continue to improve party conduct and build clean government. We should set more institutional barriers to ensure that our officials dare not, cannot, and will not engage in corruption. From the speech during a visit to Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, April 25th through April 27th, 2021. In its endeavors over the past century, our party has fostered a distinctive set of revolutionary traditions, epitomizing the party's firm belief, fundamental purpose, and defined conduct. They are invaluable assets that have inspired us to firmly press ahead, to boost their integrity through the education campaign on CPC history. We need to guide party members and officials to carry forward the party's revolutionary legacy and to build strength of character. First, we should value loyalty to the party. Party members and officials should never forget their oath of admission to the party. We should stay committed to party undertakings and follow the party's leadership with resolution and without second thoughts. Second, we should value the determination to work for the well-being of the people. Party members and officials must always stand with the people and share weal and woe with them. We should take on responsibilities, act decisively, and consider improving people's lives to be our most fundamental duty. Third, we should promote strict self-discipline. Party members and officials should strengthen self-discipline and guard against temptations, and to be clean and honest in office and daily life, so that they will become honorable and wholesome individuals who are of moral integrity, above base interests, and of value to the people. From the speech during a visit to Qinghai Province, June 7th through June 9th, 2021. Putting what one has learned into action is the purpose of the education campaign on CPC history. A better understanding of our cause, firmer commitment to our ideals, and higher standards of integrity gained from studying history should be converted into concrete actions to transform our objective and subjective worlds. We should strengthen our commitment to the party with action. We should educate and guide party members and officials to carry forward the best of our party's traditions, pass down its revolutionary legacy, and strengthen their commitment to the party by drawing on the great founding spirit of the party. Party members and officials should have firm ideals and convictions. We should constantly strengthen our political acumen, understanding, and capacity to deliver and bear in mind the country's most fundamental interests. We should cultivate and discipline ourselves in accordance with party principles and with our moral character as party members, win the trust of the people, and guide them. We should take stronger actions to serve the people. We should educate and guide party members and officials to hold the people dearest in their hearts. We should become the people's trustworthy and caring friends, as well as their guides. We should work hard to help people overcome difficulties, ease their concerns, and solve their most urgent problems with heart and soul, and make more notable and substantive progress towards common prosperity. We should make greater efforts to promote development. We should encourage party members and officials to combine studying party history with their work, to be pragmatic, to assume responsibilities, and to creatively implement the decisions and plans of the Party Central Committee. We should focus on resolving problems and cultivating new strategies and achieve new successes that merit the trust of the party and the people and that are worthy of history and our times. From the speech during a visit to Tibet Autonomous Region, July 21st through July 23rd, 2021. Be the spine of our party. Main part of the speech at the opening ceremony of a training program for younger officials at the Central Party School, National Academy of Governance, during its 2021 fall semester. September 1st, 2021. This year marks the centenary of our party, and at present all party members are engaged in the education campaign on CPC history. It is necessary for you to systematically study party theories to consolidate your political commitment here at the Central Party School. Every time since 2013, I have come and talked to the younger officials at the opening ceremony of this training program. Today I would like to talk with you and set some expectations. First, you must have firm ideals and convictions in Marxism, communism, and Chinese socialism, and to be loyal to the party. Since our party's 18th National Congress in 2012, I have emphasized on many occasions that party members and officials must strengthen their ideals and convictions. The reason for this is that during a period of time in the past, quite a number of party members and officials lost their ideals and beliefs under the influence of erroneous and misguided thinking and sought to obtain material gain and indulge in selfish desires. Since its founding 100 years ago, the CPC has always possessed lofty ideals and firm convictions. These are its belief in Marxism, in the long-term goal of communism, and in the common ideal of socialism, with Chinese characteristics. As the source of strength and political soul of China's communists, these are the ideological basis for maintaining the party's solidarity and unity. I have always emphasized that we must be unequivocal and confident when talking about the ideals and convictions of our party. Do not be ambiguous about this. Do not be hesitant. Once a communist party loses its ideals, it is no different from other political parties. Without this motivating force and inner bond, it will become a disjointed group, doomed to failure. This is why I keep saying that ideals and convictions are as essential for a communist as calcium is for bones. Without this compound, they will be deficient in mind. The core of their being will suffer. They will inevitably become politically, financially, and morally corrupt. They will pursue a degenerate lifestyle. How party members and officials think and act is determined by whether they hold firm ideals and convictions or pursue personal gain and selfish desires. Only when they are strong in mind and belief will they be able to stand fast in the face of any test and achieve steady and continued progress. In contrast, if they are lacking or weak in ideals and convictions, they will not hold their ground when confronting challenges. They will be overwhelmed by desires and selfish interests, or worse still, abandon their responsibility at critical moments. In real life, some party members and officials are enslaved by addiction to material enjoyment. Their inner world is barren and they lack drive. They worship money, renown, and pleasure, and consider these to be the ultimate goal of life. A few of them use the power bestowed by the party and the people as a passport to personal gain, falling disgracefully into the abyss of corruption All this is caused by a loss of ideals and convictions. I have said on many occasions that we communists should temper our mind and character, integrating our learning, thinking, and practice, and seeking unity between what we learn, what we believe in, and what we do. The main goal for party members and officials is to consolidate their ideals and convictions and strengthen their commitment to the party. We cannot forge firm convictions at a stroke, nor is this a one-time effort. Whether we are true to them does not depend on what we think, but is judged by what we do when facing the harshest or most protracted tests throughout our life. Countless martyrs took the road of revolution because they found Marxism and communism when they went out in search of truth and the ultimate way to save the country and the people. The recent TV series, The Age of Awakening, which you may have watched, vividly narrates the story of how our party's early leaders fixed on Marxism and communism in the face of extreme difficulties and many competing ideologies. Li Dajiao once said, "Our purpose in living is to make something of our life, but there is a moment when we must sacrifice our lives for that purpose." A lofty life is often characterized by a heroic death. Footnote 1. Li Dajiao, Sacrifice. Collected Works of Li Dajiao, Volume 3, Chinese edition, People's Publishing House, Beijing, 2013, page 107. End of footnote 1. Facing the executioner's blade, he welcomed death as a true hero, fulfilling his commitment to his ideals with action. Over the party's 100-year history, a great many of its members carried through their ideals to the end, shedding blood in the fire of war and standing the test of life and death. Countless gave their precious lives to defend their faith. However, there were also many who wavered and betrayed the cause, tired of a hard life or fearful of the cruel struggle. Among the 13 delegates to the first CPC National Congress in 1921, 5, Wang Jinmei, Li Hanjun, Deng En-ming, He Shu-heng, and Chen Tan-chiu laid down their lives for the revolution. Some left the party, and Chen Guangbo, Zhou Fohai, and Zhang Guotao betrayed the party. History has proved that vacillating elements will be sifted out by the revolutionary tide. Just as Lu Xun wrote, "Because of the difference in ultimate aims during the struggle, some may drop out, take flight, grow decadent, or turn renegade. But so long as the rest keep advancing, as time goes by, their force will grow finer and better trained." Footnote 2. Lu Xun, Unrevolutionary Eagerness for Revolution. Complete Works of Lu Xun, Volume 4, Chinese edition, People's Literature Publishing House, Beijing, 2005, page 231. End of footnote 2. Younger officials should bear in mind that ideals and beliefs are a lifelong commitment and regular reinforcement is a requisite. Beliefs are to be upheld for life. Any change of heart, falling by the wayside, or betrayal will have major consequences. A strong faith is closely connected to loyalty to the party. Only with firm ideals and convictions can one stay loyal to the party, and fidelity to the party interprets these beliefs best. Liu Guozhi, 1921 to 1949, the real-life model for Liu Siyang in the novel Red Crag, was born into a wealthy family in Sichuan province. He was arrested and thrown into jail because of the treachery of a renegade. The enemy promised to release him if he would provide information on the party organization and announce in a newspaper his withdrawal from the party, but he remained resolute and decisive, saying, "I will never die as long as the party lives. What would be the meaning of my life if I sell out the party?" Chen Yi had a life motto: "A strong faith is central to revolution." Footnote 3. Chen Yi, 1901 to 1972, was a Chinese proletarian revolutionary, military commander, and political leader, one of the founders and leaders of the People's Liberation Army, and one of the marshals of the People's Republic of China. End of footnote 3. Although he was not there when the first gunshots were fired in the Nanchang Uprising in 1927, he overcame all difficulties and caught up with the main force, which was reduced to only 800 men upon arriving at Tianqinshu in Jiangxi province. He assisted Zhu De to rally the remaining troops. Footnote: Zhu De, 1886 to 1976, was one of the main founders of the PLA and served as its commander-in-chief. He was an important member of the first generation of the CPC Central Collective Leadership, with Mao Zedong at the core. End of footnote. And said to them, "It is easy to be a hero in victory, but much harder to be one in adversity. Only one who has experienced failures can be a real hero. We should be heroes in a time of defeat." This is true loyalty to the party. No matter the circumstances, members must follow the party to the end, even if it costs their lives. In the revolutionary years, the criterion of loyalty was whether one would fight for and sacrifice oneself for the cause of the party and the people. In times of peace, there are also clear standards of assessment. These include whether one can uphold party leadership, safeguard the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership, and keep in line with the party's central leadership in thinking, action, and political orientation. Whether one can faithfully follow the party's theories, guidelines, principles, and policies, and implement the decisions and plans of the Central Committee to the letter. Whether one can strictly abide by the party's political discipline and rules, be honest with the party, and take a clear political stance. Whether one can put the cause of the party and the people above anything else, execute the decisions of party organizations, and accept any assignment given. Our party has a long and cherished tradition. Whatever the party tells us to do, we do. Wherever the party wants us to go, we go. Wherever there is a task to fulfill, we settle there to do the job. No hesitation, no complaint. We must carry forward this tradition. Now, some officials prefer to work only in big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, and are reluctant to go to remote and less developed places like Xinjiang, Tibet, and Lanzhou. With this kind of attitude, they cannot be said to be strong in faith or loyal to the party. In a spirit of trust, party organizations delegate younger officials to work in tough and outlying places to temper them and prepare them for more senior roles. They should be proud and eager to take up such challenges rather than seeking to avoid heavy tasks, worrying about personal gains and losses, or trying to wheel and deal. Those who are reluctant to accept their assignments and think too much about themselves will not be put in important positions, as they will no doubt fail the party at critical moments. Adversity makes one stronger and helps one to succeed, just as the whetstone makes a knife sharper. Only through meeting challenges and experiencing frustrations can we become extraordinary. Second, you should be pragmatic and realistic. Basing everything on reality is our fundamental approach when addressing issues, making decisions, and taking action. Mao Zedong pointed out, "The most fundamental method of work which all communists must firmly bear in mind is to determine our working policies according to actual conditions. When we study the causes of the mistakes we have made, we find that they all arose because we departed from the actual situation at a given time and place and were subjective in our working policies. Footnote 5. Mao Zedong, speech at a conference of cadres in the Shansi Suiyuan liberated area. Selected works of Mao Zedong, Volume 4, English edition, Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1961, pages 229 to 230. End of footnote 5. His words strike to the heart of the matter. It is for this precise reason that I require all party members to be strict with themselves in self-cultivation, in the exercise of power, and in self-discipline, and to act in good faith when performing official duties, undertaking initiatives, and interacting with others. And it is for this reason that the Party Central Committee launched a special education campaign on this theme throughout the party after the 18th CPC National Congress. The Central Committee also issued many instructions, which you must follow faithfully. In order to do everything in line with reality, we should first go to the grassroots to find out the real situation. This is the only way to truth. It is also true that only when we have the right attitude, seeking truth from facts, will we direct the necessary attention to going to the grassroots to find out the real situation. To do this well, we must develop our basic skills in fact-finding and in-depth study. Now we know these are important, we must do more and better. The key is to address the issue thoroughly. A cursory visit or going through the motions will not do. Go to villages, go to communities, go there often, visit those close by and those far afield. See the real situation, good or bad. We should listen to both praise and criticism from the public. That is how we get to grips with what is really going on. Modern technology has made communication easy. We can obtain much information by making phone calls, sending WeChat messages, and reading reports. But this will never compare to on-site visits, face-to-face talks, and free discussions where anyone can take part. Many fact-finding methods that proved effective in the past still work today, like staying at the grassroots to gain first-hand experience and conducting case studies. Our practice of extending successful pilot projects nationwide is in fact a case study method. Mere visits are not enough. You should devote all your attention to the work, listen to what people say, find out the real situation, study problems thoroughly, and identify genuine difficulties. We cannot make cursory visits just for show or restrict ourselves to observing only positive things. It is completely unacceptable to set out with no intention of seeking truth from facts, but only a desire to curry favor by claptrap. Footnote 6. Mao Zedong, Reform Our Study. Selected works of Mao Zedong, Volume 3, English edition, Foreign Languages Press, 1965, page 21. End of footnote 6. This kind of conduct is a typical example of favoring form over substance and bureaucratism. We should invest hard efforts in in-depth analysis, discarding what is worthless and false, and seeking out what is valuable and true, and proceeding from the one to the other and from the outside to the inside so that we can discern the essence of things and the rules behind phenomena, and work out solutions to problems. In this process, we should exchange ideas, compare notes, double-check actual problems, respect different points of view including minority and opposition opinions, conduct analyses from different angles, and think carefully before we act. Do not present yourselves as infallible, nor be overconfident based on a smattering of knowledge. Listen to both sides and you will be enlightened. Heed only one side and you will be ill-informed. It is not a bad thing to hear conflicting voices. Only through several rounds of negating the negation can our ideas and decisions reflect reality. My proposal for targeted poverty alleviation was based on fact-finding and in-depth study. Shaking off poverty is the earnest desire of every sufferer, and a long-standing wish of revolutionaries of the older generation. If we cannot do this job properly, we will have let down the people living in impoverished areas and also failed those revolutionaries. Soon after the closing of the 18th CPC National Congress, I went to Fuping County in Hebei Province to observe poverty elimination work. After that, I continued to visit all 14 contiguous poverty-stricken areas on a regular basis. Every year I called on poor households to see their real lives for myself and to help those in real need. I sought opinions face-to-face from officials and individuals in impoverished areas and constantly sought to improve ideas and measures involving poverty alleviation. I pushed the relevant work forward with a deep devotion to the people and a promise to serve them wholeheartedly. Through the joint efforts of all party members and all people across the country, the battle against poverty has been won. Those living in previously impoverished areas are happy, and the departed revolutionaries can rest in peace. Basing our work on reality and seeking truth from facts is not just a way of thinking, it is also a test of officials' commitment to the party. The first step in making our officials realistic and practical is to raise their commitment to the party. My father once said, "Our party emphasizes commitment to the party." In my opinion, seeking truth from facts is the most important component of this commitment. In 1943, a strict campaign was launched to examine officials' personal histories. This was necessary at that particular moment, as the Kuomintang were trying every means to infiltrate the revolutionary bases. However, the severity of threat was overestimated. Kang Sheng, who was put in charge of the work, applied an ultra-left approach, extracting confessions through duress and using them as evidence. The consequence was that grave errors were made that resulted in a large number of unjust and false charges. My father was secretary of the CPC Sui De Prefectural Committee. Learning that many students at Sui De Normal School had given false confessions under physical abuse and coercion, he was very troubled. After a careful investigation, he said that political awareness should be distinguished from political stance, and an erroneous extension of the campaign should be stopped. He reported the real situation to the CPC Central Committee and its Northwest Bureau, and suggested that the Central Committee should put an end to exhorting confessions promptly and correct the leftist mistakes. At that time, this involved a significant political risk. The reason my father was willing to take the risk was that he believed that loyalty to the party means not lying to the party. Gu Wenchong, an exemplary county party secretary, was another faithful follower of the principle of seeking truth from facts. Dongshan County in Fujian Province was not liberated from the Kuomintang until May 1950. Before retreating to Taiwan, the Kuomintang press ganged a large number of young and middle-aged men, including 4,700 from Dongshan, a place with only around 10,000 households. After liberation in 1949, the family members of these press-ganged soldiers were classified as families of the enemy and puppet troops. Serving at the time as secretary of the working committee of the 1st District of Dongshan County, Gu Wenchong advised his superiors to change their descriptor to families scourged by war, as they were victims of the Kuomintang's atrocities. Accepting this suggestion, the higher authorities decided to accord these families fair and equitable political status and financial help, provide relief to those in need, and take care of elderly persons without family support. One day in July 1953, more than 10,000 Kuomintang troops carried out a raid on Dongshan, which was guarded by only 1,000 soldiers. In spite of such a huge disparity in numbers, the defending troops and civilians in the county, united as one, forged an impregnable barrier and finally secured victory. The families of the press-ganged men also joined in the defense. One said, "The Kuomintang took away our men by force, while the Communist Party treats us like family. We are ready to die and defend this island." It was precisely because of its respect for facts that the party won popular support. Although there are a number of standards by which we judge whether an official seeks truth from facts, the most fundamental criterion is whether he or she speaks the truth and does honest work for concrete outcomes. Today we have other types of officials. Some vacillate like a weathercock. Some conceal problems and pretend everything is going well. Some indulge in showy display and do nothing practical. And some are obsessed with status and crave instant success. None of these are true adherents of philosophical materialism, but are victims of self-centered thinking. You younger officials must always keep commitment to the party to the fore in your conduct and your duties, and reinforce it by being honest and truthful, and doing solid work. Have the courage to uphold truth, be an independent thinker, and work in a pragmatic manner. This will benefit the party and the people, and you will achieve personal growth. Honesty is not folly, and no one will lose out by doing practical and concrete work. Betrayal of the party and dishonesty will make officials opportunistic and self-seeking, which will tempt them into building covert political connections, buying promotions, and trading power for money, and ultimately lead to their undoing. Third, you should shoulder your responsibilities and act on your duties. Fulfilling tasks and taking responsibilities are the bound duty of officials. This is where your value lies. The party assigns officials to different positions to take responsibilities and perform duties, not to see you acting like lords and indulging in luxury. There is much work to be done in promoting reform, development, and stability. Any official who wants to do it, well, must act. Without a sense of responsibility and a will to act, without enforcement and effectiveness, you will fail in your duties. Earnest and down-to-earth efforts are essential for performing one's duties. Empty rhetoric and inaction will not lead to success. I have shared many times how the long-winded scholars of the Western and Eastern Jin dynasties, 265 to 420, cost their country its future. Wang Yan, 256 to 311, was a typical example. He was so good at talking that no one could debate with him at the time. During the final years of the Western Jin, Shi Le, 274 to 333, of the nomadic Jie tribe led an army to attack Luoyang, the Jin's capital. As the top military advisor to the Jin emperor, Wang followed the imperial army to put down the rebellion, but was defeated and captured. When Shi asked him the reasons for Jin's defeat, he tried every means to evade responsibility, saying he had not attended to state affairs since a young age. Shi retorted, "Your fame spreads throughout the empire. You have served in the court since your youth, and are still entrusted with great responsibilities even now, when your head is gray. How can you say you have not attended to state affairs? You are entirely to blame for the havoc around the country." Footnote 7. Feng Xuanling et al., Book of Jin. End of footnote 7. Soon after this encounter, Shi had him killed. Before his death, Wang Yan bewailed his misfortune and attributed it to his shallow, empty talk and lack of real effort. We also have people like him today. Some are great talkers, not doers. They work by shouting slogans and making verbal commitments. Some seek form over substance. They indulge in wasteful and extravagant projects, but make only a perfunctory effort to carry out real tasks. Some remain inactive and muddle through if nobody presses them to do things. Some even disobey orders from their superiors and violate their prohibitions, conceal the true state of affairs from both superiors and subordinates, and engage in fraud. We have found some officials who did not make genuine and concrete efforts to fulfill their responsibilities. This is a significant problem, and it explains why there were shortcomings in so many fields this year, such as epidemic control, natural disaster response, eco-environmental protection, and workplace safety. Shouldering responsibilities and performing duties cannot be separated. Failure to perform duties constitutes neglect of responsibilities, and a sense of responsibility is essential to the execution of duties. Anything we do carries a level of risk. Exactly what in the world is risk-free and completely goes as planned? This is why we need the courage to take on responsibility. If all work was easy and everyone could perform well, then why is courage so precious? It is always like this. The more you fear getting into trouble, the more likely that things will go wrong. The more you want to avoid problems, the more likely it is that they will stand in your way. Problems will only be solved when you have the courage and determination to invest in real effort and take risks. knowing the danger but still forging ahead. When I worked in Fujian, a province rich in forest resources, I saw the farmers leading a hard life due to unclear ownership of the green mountains outside their doors. To help them, I launched a reform to address unclear forest tenure and other institutional and structural problems. At that time, it was a risky move, as the central authorities had suspended the contracting of hills to households due to destructive logging in some areas in the 1980s. We were uncertain whether we could resume this policy after more than 20 years, but after careful consideration, I concluded that since forest tenure concerned the people's immediate interests, conflict would eventually erupt if the issue remained unresolved. We should address it as early as possible. Also, rapid economic growth and better quality of life for rural people had reduced the need for destructive logging. As long as we formulated a sensible policy and applied effective methods, we could keep risks under control. The decision reached, we carried out extensive research and full analyses on 4 key problems: how to distribute forest land, how to plan for logging, how to make the necessary funds available to farmers, and how to integrate scattered pieces of forest land operated by individual households. Then we introduced reform measures tailored to local conditions and formulated our country's first tenure reform policy for collectively owned forests at the provincial level. The central authorities included all of Fujian's experience in its number 10 document of 2008. We should be bold and resolute in work and fulfill our duties when in office. Anything that benefits the party and the people, no matter how hard it might be, must be done, and it is our responsibility to do it. Just be bold and act. As a famous line by Lin Zishu goes, "I am willing to sacrifice my life for my country. How then should I shrink from lesser possible harm?" Footnote 8. Lin Zishu, farewell to my family, on my way to exile. Lin Zishu, 1785 to 1850, was a patriot and statesman of the Qing dynasty who advocated resistance to Western invasion and a ban on the non-medicinal consumption of opium during the Opium War of 1840. End of footnote 8. In advancing our cause and promoting reform, we will certainly touch upon many vested interests and provoke disagreement. Such disapproval or attack is inevitable if we want to do things, change things, and set things right. Throwing a stone into the water will create ripples, all the more so carrying out a great undertaking. Hesitation in performing bound duties in the face of disapproval is not the attitude that a communist should have. We should remain calm and carry out a rational analysis of opposition. If we are sure of the things we do and have been proved correct, we should move forward without any thought of turning back even if we are unjustly criticized, accused, or blamed. We should explain things well and build consensus to gain maximum understanding and support. We should accept fair criticism with an open mind and improve our plans and policies accordingly. It is important to have willpower, perseverance, and self-discipline, and essential to be bold and resourceful. If we persevere and ultimately achieve success, much opposition will vanish into thin air. Fourth, you should uphold principles and be ready for challenges. Sticking to principles is an important characteristic of communists, and a primary criterion to judge whether an official is well qualified. There is now a misunderstanding about harmony among some officials. They abuse this cherished value and misinterpret broad-mindedness, adopt a nice guy approach in their work, and fail to take a clear-cut stance on political principles. They are open-minded on cardinal issues of right and wrong, and let misconduct go unchecked. Some are unctuous in social relations and tack along with every breeze. What they say and do depends on whom they are talking to or dealing with, and what their superiors and co-workers support. Some just follow others, caring not for right or wrong. All this runs contrary to party principles and must be corrected. For communists, the nice guy in the workplace is not a good person. Such people are self-centered and self-serving, devoid of ethics, and without the public good in mind. They believe that upholding principles will provoke strife, that resolving thorny problems will cause conflict, that not taking risks brings a great many benefits, and that utilitarian socializing helps make friends. their kind, has been treated with disdain since ancient times. Confucius said, "The honest villager spoils true virtue." Footnote 9. See Note 1, page 516. End of footnote 9. The honest villager here is a person who, devoid of any sense of right and wrong, tries to please everyone in the village. Mencius denounced such people for just following the herd and being in concord with the filthy world. Footnote 10. See Note 2, page 601. End of footnote 10. A sentence in A Dream of Red Mansions portrays them in a penetrating way as doing things to serve their own ends while trying not to create any waves. Pandering without principle does not stem from good intentions because it is done for one's own benefit at the cost of healthy progress and greater undertakings. It has been repeatedly proved that this is one of the fundamental reasons why in some regions and departments the forces of right are waning while malign influences are spreading. This is why no breakthroughs are made in work and conflicts and problems are piling up. Our party always values unity, which is attained through positive, healthy criticism and self-criticism, rather than keeping on good terms with everyone at the expense of principles. In order to uphold commitment to the party and its principles, we communists must engage in criticism and self-criticism. We must be resolute and make no concessions on matters of principle. Otherwise, we will fail the party and the people, or even commit serious mistakes, tantamount to breaking the law. In addition to cardinal issues of right and wrong, we must also adhere to principle on less important things. The Chinese people set great store by personal connections. We live in this society and we all have relatives, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, superiors, and subordinates. We often have to make a choice between principles and our family and friends when performing duties and addressing problems. It is, of course, ideal if the two are in concord, but we must never compromise a principle for any person when we are not able to serve both. Huang Ke-chung once served as the executive secretary of the party's Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. He said that to improve conduct, one should dare to offend others. When a previous subordinate of many years had a banquet paid out of public funds by Jingxi Hotel, he handled the issue in line with discipline and in disregard of past fellowship. The then Minister of Commerce entertained guests at Feng Ziyuan restaurant, but asked for an unreasonable discount for the meal. After investigation, Huang circulated a notice of criticism across the party and publicized the matter in the People's Daily. Party officials must be strictly impartial, upright, and selfless, focusing on principle and commitment to the party rather than connections and personal favors. We must be ready to fight malign influences and tendencies at any time and in any place. Today, as the world is experiencing an accelerating rate of change on a scale unseen in a century, and as our mission of national rejuvenation enters a critical stage, the risks and challenges we face are increasing. It is unrealistic to expect days free from troubles and struggles. More than ever, communists should have backbone, integrity, and the courage to overcome any fear and any evil. Fifth, you must strictly observe the rules and never cross red lines. I have repeated this too many times, but today I still need to remind you again. It is not easy for our party to train a well-qualified official. If he or she is tempted onto an erroneous path and violates discipline and laws, all their training will be for nothing and they fail the party's trust. It pains me to see how some leading officials have decayed. I feel truly sorry for them. Not long ago, I read a report about how some young public servants went astray and became involved in corruption as soon as they gained some seniority in their departments or took up a leadership position. They failed to maintain integrity even at an early stage. You should draw lessons from them and always bear discipline and rules in mind. In order to observe the rules and keep ourselves within the lines, we should first hold them in total respect. Only with such awareness will we be able to set limits on what we say and do. Since the party's 18th National Congress, the Central Committee has maintained a tough stance on corruption, imposed tight constraints for long-term deterrence, and ensured that there is no such thing as a no-go area. No ground is left unturned, and no tolerance is shown for corruption. In disregard of all this, some officials still violate discipline. This is not because they do not know what discipline and rules require, but because they do not hold them in total respect. Which offense have they committed that is not prohibited by explicit party discipline and state laws? Which mistake have they made that does not have a prior example? As a Ming Dynasty thinker said, "With awe in mind, one will be prudent in word and deed and therefore cultivate virtue. Without awe in mind, one will act rashly and therefore bring disaster to oneself." Footnote 11. Lu Kun, groans from my sick bed. Lu Kun, 1536 to 1618, was a writer and thinker of the Ming Dynasty. End of footnote 11. Those who do not respect discipline and rules will do evil and commit horrifying crimes. Our officials must always hold the party, the people, the law, and party discipline in total respect and never cross the line. Do not deceive yourselves that no one will know of your misdeeds. Do not allow yourselves to be overwhelmed by the sweet talk of those offering bribes. Do not take chances because you believe money and power come from taking risks. Do not act recklessly under the misapprehension that the law cannot cope when wrongdoers are too numerous. Only with stringent moral standards can one be strict with oneself. Only when officials maintain a sound worldview, positive values, and a healthy outlook on life, and foster a noble mind and a strong moral character, can they rise above temptation. They might have been held back from taking bribes by fear before, but now they are free from such lowly desires. Shui Xuan, a Neo-Confucian philosopher of the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, divided officials of honesty and integrity into 3 levels. The best are those who do not accept gifts because they know they should not. In the center are those who do not lower themselves for money because they value honor. The lowest are those who dare not to take bribes because they want to hold on to their official post and fear punishment. We, communists, are committed to the public good, justice, and the greater self. Therefore, we should always be upright and honorable. We should always place the people at the center and in the forefront of our hearts, devote ourselves to the public interest, and remain righteous and incorruptible. Yang Shanzhou was an exemplary prefectural party secretary who dedicated his whole life to serving the people selflessly. In the 1970s and 1980s, when many people in rural areas had built wood and brick and tile-roofed houses, his family still lived in a thatched hut which leaked on rainy days. He told his family, "I can't afford to repair our house. You'll have to make do with it for now. Buy some earthen jars to catch the rain from the roof." In 1992, the Daliangshan Forest Farm he co-founded built its first brick and tile house. He allocated it to a newly arrived technician, while he himself lived in a shack made of tarred sheets. Another time he visited a village and stayed in a farmer's home. He paid for his food and accommodation in line with regulations, but the host family felt uncomfortable about the poor food and secretly returned 20 cents into his bag. When he found it, he traveled more than 50 kilometers back to the village that night and gave those 20 cents back to the host. In some people's eyes, he was a fool who paid no attention to what to eat and where to live, or how to travel. He said, "Some say I go out of my way to seek hardship, but they don't know how happy I am. If communists have an occupational disease, it must be a zeal for putting up with any difficulty for the benefit of the people." The mindset that cherishes hard work and arduous struggle will never be obsolete, and we must always encourage it. Being a party official, you must not make too much of fame, social status, or individual interests. An official who does everything he can to seek a government post just for good food and clothes, as a saying goes, will not accomplish anything. Sixth, you should continue to develop yourselves through diligent study and painstaking training. As an ancient Chinese philosopher observed, a small bag cannot hold large things. A short rope cannot reach a deep well. Footnote 12. Zhuangzi. End of footnote 12. We are in an era of unprecedented change, and we are trying to accomplish things that have never been done before. Unless we expand our knowledge, broaden our horizons, and increase our ability, success will never come our way. Younger officials are energetic and active in thinking, and you are fast learners. You are at an ideal stage to hone your skills and improve your abilities, so you must cherish every minute and never idle away your youth. You should study with great eagerness and improve yourselves ceaselessly. Books can increase your knowledge and teach you skills. Mao Zedong once said, "Unlike eating and sleeping, reading is indispensable every day." With a heavy schedule, he made use of every moment to read even while having his hair cut. He said with humor to his barber, "You do your job and I'll do mine and we'll leave each other be." We should follow his example and employ every second of time to study intensively, read more, and read selectively, and draw wisdom and intellectual nourishment from books. We must not feel too pleased with ourselves to bother with study or relax our studies on the pretext that we are too busy, or take a perfunctory attitude towards study as if putting on a show. We must know what and how to study. There is a limit to one's energy, and one cannot learn everything. What officials should learn is based on the demands of their work and the gaps in their knowledge. We should study Marxism, especially our party's innovative theories in the new era, and the history of the CPC, the PRC, reform and opening up, and the development of socialism. We should build a basic knowledge of economics, politics, law, culture, social sciences, management, the environment, international relations, and other fields. We should add new knowledge and skills that we need in work, establishing a complete knowledge system that is necessary for fulfilling duties. Practice brings us true knowledge and makes us more capable. The undertakings of the party and the country cover a wide range of fields. Leading officials will not always work in one position, and they cannot possibly be ready and fully prepared in knowledge and skills every time they are transferred to a new position. To learn at work and then apply what we have learned is the only way for officials to cultivate talent and grow. During the early days of the PRC, the central leadership appointed Xiao Jingguang as the commander-in-chief of the newly established Navy. Xiao had never been involved with the Navy before, and he could not even swim. He learned what he needed through his work and accomplished the task assigned by the central leadership, building from scratch a Navy that quickly grew stronger. This was also how many older revolutionaries developed the necessary expertise in economics, science and technology, diplomacy, and other fields. As our ancestors pointed out, through learning we improve ability, as through the whetstone knives are honed. Footnote 13, Liu Xiang, Garden of Stories, Shuo Yuan. End of footnote 13. Just as a seasoned co-worker noted, the more you work at something, the better you become at it, and the more you want to improve. Of course, the gains and progress you draw from study depend on how diligent you are, and whether you are good at thinking and summing up experience. If you merely busy yourselves with mechanical effort and allow yourselves to become bogged down in the quagmire of trivial and routine matters, you will hardly improve your knowledge and skills. All of these points are critical for the healthy growth of younger officials. Living in a great age, you are a vital new force for the party and the country. I hope you will add to your capabilities and become more competent and competitive. Do not go astray, fall behind, or drop out. I expect you to become the spine of our party, to work in important positions, and undertake great responsibilities for meeting the second centenary goal. The party and the people trust you and look forward to the results of your hard work. New vision, strategy, and measures for talent development in the new era. Part of the speech at the Central Conference on Talent. September 27, 2021. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the Central Committee has answered a series of important theoretical and practical questions about building a talent-strong country, including why and how to achieve it. It has put forward a new vision, a new strategy, and a range of measures for talent development. First, we should uphold the party's overall leadership over talent-related work. This is the fundamental guarantee for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. The future of a country depends on talent. By exercising leadership over the management and development of talent, the party should strengthen self-reliance in science and technology through the strategy of building a talent-strong country. We should provide strong political guidance as well as all-round support and assistance, and explore all avenues to nurture talent. We should value talented people, select them, put them in suitable posts, and stay engaged with them. This will enable us to attract capable people from both within and outside the party, and from both China and abroad, to join us in the great cause of the party and the people. We must train the right combination of high-caliber people in large numbers. Second, we should ensure that talent plays a strategic role in driving development, which is a major strategy for building a contingent of people of high caliber. Talent is the primary driver of innovation. Talented people are a key strength that will enable China to prevail in fierce international competition. Innovation-driven development is, in essence, talent-driven development. As we are in a new development stage, we should apply the new development philosophy, create a new development dynamic, and promote high-quality development. In pursuing this goal, we must give top priority to human resources, cultivate a strategic talent pool, and thus lay a solid foundation for innovation-driven development. Third, we should target global scientific and technological frontiers, serve the economy, meet major national needs, and strive to improve people's lives and health. This is the goal for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. We must support and encourage our scientists and engineers to keep abreast of global advances in science and technology and achieve first-class research outcomes. To meet the urgent and long-term needs of China's development, they should boldly put forward new theories, explore new frontiers, and map out new routes. They should deliver more outcomes of strategic significance in key fields and make breakthroughs in developing core technologies. They should explore the unknown in science and technology and apply research findings in socialist modernization. Fourth, we should provide well-rounded training for talent and tap into their full potential. This is the top priority in developing a contingent of people of high caliber. We must be confident in our capacity to nurture talent, develop top-notch personnel and teams for innovation, and cultivate a reserve of young scientists and engineers who are internationally competitive. We should assign talent to suitable posts and make sure they are managed, supported, and rewarded in the right ways. We should promote competent young people and give full play to their creativity and capacity for innovation. We must broaden our vision in selecting talent and put them in the right posts, regardless of their background. Fifth, we should expand the institutional reform of talent development. This is an important guarantee for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. We must remove all institutional barriers in training, posting, evaluating, supporting, and incentivizing talent. We should discard the criteria that overemphasize research papers, academic titles, educational backgrounds, and awards. Instead, we should give more say to employers and create an accommodating environment for talent development. We should turn our institutional strengths into competitive strengths in talent and technology. We should put in place effective training, hiring, incentive, and competition mechanisms that enable talent to pursue excellence. We should free researchers from pointless formalities and bureaucratic constraints in their work. Sixth, we should search for the best minds and give full rein to their expertise, which is crucial for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. China welcomes talent from all countries to participate in its development and offers opportunities for their career development. We should introduce talent recruitment policies that are more robust, open, and effective, make the best use of innovative resources across the world, and adopt targeted measures to bring in urgently needed talent. We should develop an institutional framework that is appealing and internationally competitive. We should move faster to build China into a global talent and innovation center. Seventh, we should create an enabling environment for identifying, respecting, cherishing, and giving full play to talent, which will create the social conditions necessary for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. We must foster a social environment climate of respecting and valuing talent, an institutional environment that promotes fairness and equality, and that facilitates the selection of the best among competitors, and a living environment with satisfactory support and appropriate benefits. In short, we should create the best conditions possible for talent to fully devote themselves to their work and foster a culture that encourages creativity and innovation throughout society. Eighth, we should promote the ethos of scientists as a source of inspiration for developing a contingent of people of high caliber. We should champion patriotism expressed by honoring the country and serving the people. We should pursue innovation by meeting challenges and breaking new ground. We should advocate a truth-seeking approach and a scrupulous attitude to scholarly work. We should encourage dedication and commitment and resist the temptations of fame and fortune. We should encourage teamwork and collaboration to pool wisdom to tackle tough problems. We should encourage seasoned talent to impart their knowledge and experience to help young people achieve success. We should inspire people in various sectors to blaze new trails for innovation and work hard for the country. These 8 principles encapsulate our understanding of talent development. We should continue to implement and enrich these principles. Self-reform, the second answer to breaking the cycle of rise and fall. Part of the speech at the second full assembly of the 6th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee. November 11th, 2021. Self-reform is key to ensuring our party never betrays its nature and mission. In my speech, at the ceremony marking the centenary of the CPC, I pointed out that the party has never represented any individual interest group, power group, or privileged stratum. The resolution adopted at this plenary session reiterated that point. This is a response to any attempt to divide our party from the people or set the people against our party by those with ulterior motives, and also a reminder to the whole party that we must remain firm and clear-headed. For whom do we govern? For whom do we exercise power? And for whom do we seek benefit? Ours is a very large party with 100 years of history, and we have governed this country since 1949. How can we break the historical cycle of rise and fall? Mao Zedong offered the first answer to the question in Yan'an back in 1947. He said, "The government will not dare slacken its effort, only under the people's scrutiny." Footnote 1. From Mao Zedong's conversation with Huang Yanpei in July 1945. See Chronicle of Mao Zedong, 1893 to 1949, Volume 2, Chinese edition, Central Party Literature Publishing House, Beijing, 2013, page 611. End of footnote 1. Now, after a century of exploring the path, especially with a new approach since the party's 18th National Congress in 2012, our party has given the second answer, by carrying out self-reform. The courage to engage in self-reform is a distinctive feature that differentiates our party from other political parties, Mao Zedong said. Conscientious practice of self-criticism is still another hallmark distinguishing our party from all other political parties. Footnote 2. Mao Zedong on Coalition Government, Selected Works of Mao Zedong, Volume 3, English edition, Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1965, page 266, end of footnote 2. It is this character that has enabled our party to rise time and again at critical moments, to bring order out of chaos after making mistakes, and to become a Marxist party that still stands strong despite setbacks. For any political party, remembering the founding mission and never having a change of heart, even in toughest times, is always the most difficult part. Selflessness in governance creates social equity. Footnote 3. Classic of Loyalty. This is a book attributed to Ma Rong. Ma Rong, 79 to 166, was a Confucian scholar of the Eastern Han Dynasty. End of footnote 3. Our party has no interests of its own. This is the source of our courage and strength in self-reform. It is because of this that we have regularly examined our conduct and reflected on mistakes from a purely materialist perspective. It is because of this that we have been able to overcome attempts by individual interest groups, power groups, and privileged strata to corrupt us. We have been able to seek out and punish party members who have done wrong under the influence of these groups. Ours is a great party not because we do not make mistakes, but because we never conceal mistakes. We face up to them and reform ourselves. We have upheld truth in the guiding principles, correcting mistakes, such as the right opportunist leadership of Qin Duxiu after the failure of the Great Revolution, 1924 to 1927, the leftist mistakes of rash action and adventurism during the Agrarian Revolutionary War, 1927 to 1937, the leftist dogmatism during Wang Ming's leadership when the party was headquartered in Yan'an, 1935 to 1948, and the Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, which was completely repudiated after the third plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee in 1978. Through the movement to rectify party conduct in the Yan'an period, the campaigns to improve party conduct and fight corruption, waste, and bureaucratism in the early years of the PRC, the party-wide rectification, and the many education campaigns following the launch of reform and opening up, we have addressed prominent problems of unwholesome thinking, organization and conduct, and lack of political commitment. We have resolutely fought corruption. Liu Qingshan and Zhang Zishan, two senior party officials who took large bribes in the early 1950s, were given capital sentences. Prioritizing the battle against corruption and the fight to improve party conduct since 1978, we have established a framework for preventing and punishing corruption, and forged a strong resistance to corruption among officials. Since the party's 18th National Congress, we have shown unprecedented courage and resolve in implementing full and rigorous self-governance, and developed a complete set of rules and regulations for the party to cleanse, improve, and reform itself. In response to the 7 malpractices and other prominent problems undermining the party's image, authority, and ties with the people, we have enforced strict discipline, supervision, and accountability, and focused on key senior officials to make our party stronger. Footnote 4. The 7 malpractices were put forward by Xi Jinping at the second full assembly of the 4th plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee in October 2014. In order to seek promotion and greater power, some officials, ignoring the party's political discipline and rules, have engaged in one or more of these malpractices. 1. Making appointments based on favoritism and discriminating against those who hold different views. 2. Ganging together to form self-serving factions. 3. Making anonymous and false allegations against others and spreading rumors. 4. Buying support and votes. 5. Promising high positions in exchange for favors and relying on cronyism for promotion. 6. Feigning compliance while opposing inaction and going their own way. 7. Failing to comply with or even making baseless criticisms of Central Committee decisions. End of footnote 4. Just as it takes a heavy dose of medicine to treat a serious disease and stringent laws to address disorder, we have been determined to take out tigers, swat flies, and hunt down foxes, removing potential dangers in the party, the state, and the military, even though it means pain for the time being. How many of the world's political parties can match our resolve and scale in fighting corruption? Some extol the multi-party rule of the West and their separation of powers, refusing to believe that our party is capable of thorough self-reform, but reality has taught them otherwise. Our party has won wide acclaim for its achievements over the past 100 years. We cannot lose ourselves in self-congratulation. We should carry on with self-reform. As an ancient Chinese philosopher said, one should not be seduced by praise, nor should one fear opprobrium. Footnote 5. Shun Zi. End of footnote 5. All party members must always be ready for self-reform, and to be aware that there is no end to full and rigorous governance of the party. We must not feel complacent about our progress so far. The major corruption cases recently investigated have warned us that we should never slacken our efforts in improving party conduct and fighting corruption. Members of the Central Committee and party officials at all levels should keep a clear head and know the real situation regarding the mindset, organization, conduct, and clean governance. We must have the courage to face up to problems and carry out self-reform through vigorous self-examination. If you are sick, go to the doctor, take medicine if needed, and have surgery if necessary. We will not hold back on punishing corruption. Whoever commits a crime will be investigated, and we will turn a blind eye in no case. We will not relent in cleansing the viruses that damage the health of the party and undermine its progressive and wholesome nature. There will be no leniency for anyone who damages the interests of the country and the people, encroaches upon the party's governing foundations, or weakens the socialist state power. There will be no tolerance for anyone trying to form political factions, cliques, or interest groups inside the party. When we celebrate our centenary, a milestone of success, we must keep alert against the possibility that as an organization, we might one day become fragile and feeble. We must not forget the setbacks in our past, or the times we lost our way, or the hard lessons of the governments around the world that have failed due to complacency. We cannot be half-hearted or soft-handed in dealing with our problems. That will only lead to our demise. We should guide social transformation with self-reform and advance self-reform through social transformation to ensure that the party continues to exercise strong leadership in building socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. Build confidence, unity, and fighting spirit. Main points of the speech at a criticism and self-criticism meeting on the education campaign on CPC history among members of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee. December 27th through December 28th, 2021. This is a fruitful meeting as we have exchanged ideas, examined problems, and set the direction for the future, which are the results we, members of the Political Bureau, have achieved in the education campaign on CPC history. This is very important to our preparation for the upcoming 20th National Congress of the party. Your comments and proposals will be very helpful to improving our work. Over the century since its founding in 1921, our party has united the people and led them to remarkable achievements and accumulated invaluable experience. The history of our party is like a most lively and convincing textbook. Our party has always attached great importance to the study of its past. The more we learn about its journey, the more deeply we understand the laws of history, the more insights we gain, and the better we can steer future development. The Central Committee made a decision early this year to launch an education campaign on CPC history in the whole party and society to review, study, and promote the party's history. Through this campaign, party members will have a better understanding of our cause, firmer commitment to our ideals, higher standards of integrity, and greater determination to turn what has been learned into concrete actions. This education campaign is designed to help build confidence, unity, and fighting spirit. Whether we are able to maintain excellent performance on our new journey essentially depends on whether we have firm confidence. Over the past century, our party has been dedicated to working for the well-being of the Chinese people and rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, and to pursuing progress for humanity and great harmony for the world. Our commitment to the common good leads us on the right path to a better future for humanity. This is the greatest source of confidence that underpins our party's long-term governance of China and its capacity to rally the people and lead them forward into the future. Today, we can claim with full confidence that the CPC has been worthy of the choice of history and the people. Our confidence is grounded in a full and accurate understanding of history. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, faithful to historical materialism and a rational outlook on party history, we have made considerable progress in ending confusion and resolving misunderstandings over certain major questions in relation to the history of the party and the country. At the same time, we know full well that to have a good understanding of our past, it is still necessary for our party to conduct a serious, comprehensive, and authoritative review of its history, followed by an enduring campaign to study and publicize it. In this way, more and more people will get a proper perspective on party history, and the general public will have a clear understanding of the official account of party history. We will encourage party members, officials, and the general public, particularly young people, to bear in mind our past experiences and have full confidence in our journey ahead. Unity is the lifeline of our party. Our party is experienced in unifying thinking and taking concerted action through reviewing history. This unity is first and foremost political unity, which has reached new heights with the joint efforts of the whole party since the 18th CPC National Congress. The 19th Central Committee decided that Chinese socialism in the new era should be highlighted in the resolution adopted at its 6th plenary session in 2021. This is of tremendous significance for our party to unify thinking and take concerted action on major theoretical and practical questions, and to rally the Chinese people of all ethnic groups and lead them towards the victory of socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. Our party comes from the people, has its roots among the people, and is dedicated to serving the people. The resolution adopted at the 6th plenary session was the third on the history of our party. Its purpose is to remind all party members that we should remain true to our original aspiration and founding mission in the new era, properly answer the essential questions of where we have come from and where we are going, always maintain close ties with the people, and guide the people to study our party's century-long history, fully understand its nature, and follow its leadership. The emergence and development of Marxism and socialist countries is a story of hardship and struggle. During the new democratic revolution, 1919 to 1949, we endured unprecedented difficulties and made enormous sacrifices. After the founding of the PRC in 1949, particularly after the 18th CPC National Congress, we addressed many major risks and challenges through courageous and tenacious struggle. In the new era, we will review and make a good use of this experience, always be ready to respond to worst-case scenarios, and guard against potential dangers. We will maintain our fighting spirit, identify proper methods or approaches, and develop the capacity to solve problems. We will be dauntless and forge ahead no matter what difficulties may arise. We will respond effectively to risks and challenges on the way forward, both foreseeable and unexpected, while steering the ship of Chinese socialism onward through the waves. The political bureau should draw wisdom and strength from our party's century-long history of struggle to improve itself. We, as members of the political bureau, must conscientiously turn the original aspiration into action, have a broad vision and foresight, show concern for the country and the people, make long-term and practical plans, avoid seeking personal gain, position, or privilege, always focus on the cause of the party and the people, and be forever close to the people and work by their side through thick and thin. We should play an exemplary role in strengthening commitment to the party's ideals and convictions. These ideals and convictions will be a beacon for us to observe the general situation, respond to change, and learn about future prospects. A source of strength for hard work and constant improvement, a source of political wisdom for us to distinguish between right and wrong and avoid confusion, a source of strong antibodies for us to resist unhealthy tendencies and decadence. We, as members of the Political Bureau, must be firm and clear-headed ourselves and take the lead in upholding the authority and centralized unified leadership of the Central Committee. In addition, we must also make a conscious effort to encourage all party members to do likewise. In particular, we must prevent and reverse unhealthy trends. We must have keen and far-sighted strategic vision, focus on new issues as they emerge, give broad rein to democracy, draw on collective wisdom, and put forward advice that is in line with reality for sound decision-making. We must set an example in fully implementing the decision and plans of the Central Committee, and we must urge people in the sectors and departments for which we are responsible to study earnestly and understand thoroughly the Central Committee's decisions and plans, which are of the greatest significance to our country, and ensure that they are implemented to the letter. The top priority of the Political Bureau next year is to convene the 20th CPC National Congress. We, as members of the Political Bureau, must perform our duties in earnest and do our best with a strong sense of responsibility and mission. Leadership elections will take place this year and the next. Senior leaders must strictly observe political discipline and rules and abide by organizational discipline and election regulations. We must guide leading officials to correctly understand the decisions of our party, appraise themselves honestly, subordinate themselves to overall interests, and defer to the decisions of the organization. We must all gird up our loins as communists and devote all our energy to work. At this meeting, many valuable comments and suggestions have been made on the work of the Central Committee and of the central and local governments. These must be examined immediately after the meeting with measures to improve our work and deliver concrete results. Make further progress in party self-governance. Main points of the speech at the 6th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. January 18, 2022. The year 2021 marks the centenary of the founding of the Communist Party of China. The CPC Central Committee's efforts to enforce strict party self-governance have provided a strong political base for building a modern, socialist country. 10 years have passed since the 18th CPC National Congress held in 2012. A blacksmith in the past would spend 10 years forging a perfect sword. Likewise, over the past decade, the Central Committee has incorporated strict party self-governance into the four-pronged comprehensive strategy and pressed forward with unprecedented courage and determination to improve party conduct, build clean government, and fight corruption. Some malfeasances that had not been checked for many years have been curbed, intractable problems of long-standing have been resolved, and serious hidden dangers within the party, the state, and the armed forces have been removed. Lax and weak governance in the party has been fundamentally reversed, and we have chosen to rely on the party's self-reform to avoid the historical cycle of rise and fall. Since 2012, historic and groundbreaking achievements have been made in strengthening the party's self-governance. This has had a profound impact in multiple dimensions. We should continue this process in the long term and make steady progress. Over the past 100 years, the party has ensured its lasting vitality and robust growth by relying on developing people's democracy and accepting public scrutiny from outside the party, and on strengthening self-governance and self-reform within the party. It has had the courage and the determination to uphold the truth and correct mistakes. Strict self-governance, a significant element of the party's self-reform in the new era, has opened up a new realm for our century-old party. To succeed in self-reform, we must reinforce the party's political foundations as the overarching principle and self-reform as the political direction. Improve ideological work, which is essential to the development of the party, and make it a powerful tool for self-reform. Implement the Central Committee's 8 rules to improve party conduct with strict discipline, and encourage more measures of self-reform. Footnote 1. The 8 rules were set by the Political Bureau of the 18th CPC Central Committee to urge all officials to improve their ways of doing things and maintain close ties with the people. They are summarized as follows: improving investigation and fact-finding trips, streamlining meetings and other activities, reducing documents and briefings, standardizing arrangements for visits abroad, improving security procedures, improving media reports, imposing restrictions on publishing their own works, and practicing diligence and frugality. End of footnote 1. Fight corruption and punish wrongdoers with decisive measures to prepare for a tough and protracted process of self-reform. Strengthen the political function, organization, and cohesion of the party to build a force that is bold in self-reform and knows how to do it well. Establish a system of rules and regulations that will help the party cleanse, improve, and reform itself, to provide an institutional guarantee for self-reform. Since 2012, based on the Marxist theory of political party development, we have reviewed and applied the experience of our party gained over 1 century to further innovations in the theory, practice, and system of party governance. Our understanding of how to build a Marxist political party fit to rule in the long term and of what steps must be taken has risen to a new level. It includes upholding the centralized, unified leadership of the CPC Central Committee, ensuring that the party exercises effective self-supervision and strict self-governance, reinforcing the party's political foundations, maintaining a resolute stance on matters concerning strict self-discipline, working tenaciously to improve party conduct, showing zero tolerance for corruption, eliminating all forms of corruption and misconduct that harm the interests of the people, focusing on those in leading positions so that they can lead by example in these areas, improving the supervisory system of the party and the state to form an effective supervision mechanism that covers all areas. We must consolidate what we have achieved during the education campaign on CPC history, stay true to our original aspiration and founding mission, and open up new prospects for development. We need to study and implement the decisions made at the 6th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee in 2021, strengthen education and presentation of party history, and increase the confidence in the party so that our original aspiration and founding mission will truly take root in the hearts of party members. We should encourage party members to carry forward the party's fine traditions and conduct, stay loyal to the party and the people through concrete actions, and remain committed to them so as to achieve greater success on the new journey. We need to strengthen political oversight to ensure that the new development philosophy is implemented in full, to the letter, and in all fields. We must apply the new development philosophy, ground our efforts in the new development stage, create a new development dynamic, and focus on high-quality development. We should guide party members and officials to fully understand the major policies and decisions of the Central Committee, act consistently with them, and implement them in full. Neither half measures nor superficial compliance should be allowed in enforcement. We must overcome the silo mentality and regional protectionism and stamp out political calculation, petty scheming for personal gain, and acts in disregard of the rules so as to ensure that the Central Committee's decisions and plans are carried out strictly and faithfully. We must be resolute in the battle against corruption and succeed in our strategic goal of ensuring that our officials dare not, cannot, and will not engage in corruption. We must be soberly aware that the battle against corruption is still fierce and is shifting to unfamiliar terrain. We are facing a formidable task to guard against collusion against malevolent interest groups seeking to tempt and corrupt officials by various means. We are also facing a formidable task to deal effectively with new forms of corruption that are difficult to detect. We must eradicate the breeding ground for corruption and bring about a corruption-free political environment. We must also clean up systemic corruption, diffuse risks, and remove hidden dangers. We still have a long way to go. We need to keep a clear head and bear in mind that the battle against corruption is a protracted one, and we should be ready for fight at any time. As long as the soil and conditions for corruption exist, it will never be eradicated, and our struggle will never end. Leading officials should sharpen their political acumen and discernment. Leading officials, those in the higher ranks in particular, should take the lead in implementing directives on strengthening political integrity in the new era, consolidate the foundations of sound values, reinforce their commitment to the party, and build up their capacity to resist corruption and venality. They should also nurture a healthy family culture and set a good example for their family members through integrity and honest behavior. The 8 rules must be reinforced to correct the 4 malfeasances of favoring form over substance, bureaucratism, hedonism, and extravagance, and foster healthy and positive practices. Favoring form over substance and bureaucratism are the arch enemies of the healthy growth of our party and the state. We need to start with leading officials, especially those at the higher levels, and urge them to adopt the right view on job performance, respect reality and the needs of the people, and strengthen systems thinking and rational planning so as to serve and benefit the people. They must not fail to put an end to favoring form over substance, going through the motions, or launching expensive and ill-considered projects. We must implement the system for evaluating officials and inspecting their work in order to have them better perform their duties. We must strengthen scrutiny over the implementation of Central Committee policies that bring benefits and security to the people and address their key concerns in areas such as education, healthcare, old age insurance, social security, environmental protection, workplace safety, and food and drug security. We must consolidate what we have achieved in the fight against criminal gangs and organized crime, and in the education and rectification drive for judicial, prosecuting, and public security teams, so that people can see that equity and justice are served in every judicial case. We will strengthen education, management, and supervision of younger officials, and to train and guide them to be honest and loyal to the party and the people. They should be strictly and thoroughly educated and managed and supervised, so as to firm up their ideals and convictions and encourage them to keep in mind the party's original aspiration and founding mission. They must exercise power in the right way, maintain self-respect, conduct self-examination, strictly observe discipline, laws, and regulations, and start their political career as they mean to carry on. Younger officials must constantly review the party's constitutions, regulations, and discipline, its theories, guidelines, principles, and policies, and our party's original aspiration and founding mission, and use these as their yardstick to judge whether any action can and should be taken so as to guard against corruption and decadence. We must reinforce the system for overseeing the exercise of state power and improve supervision over discipline, compliance, and law enforcement, to make supervision more standardized, forceful, and effective. Party committees and party leadership groups at all levels should take primary responsibility for internal supervision and strengthen supervision over senior officials, especially those in command and the leadership teams. Discipline, inspection, and supervision departments should assist party committees in strictly governing the party and realizing effective coordination between internal party supervision and other types of supervision. We must implement the principle of the party supervising officials, strengthening scrutiny of elections of a new leadership, and ensuring that party organizations reinforce their leadership and supervision in evaluating the performance of officials, especially in terms of political commitment and clean governance. Departments and officials engaged in discipline, inspection, and supervision should always be loyal to the party, the people, and their duties, play their due role in the party's self-reform, and carry forward the party's best practices and finest conduct established over the past century. Focusing on the overall work of the party and the state, they should perform their supervisory role for more effective implementation of the strategic plans, objectives, and tasks of the party and the state. Discipline, inspection, and supervision teams must hold themselves to stricter standards and discipline to sharpen their minds and capabilities. They should strengthen their commitment to the party, be upright, impartial, and prudent in exercising their power, and constantly build up their immunity against corruption. They should readily subject themselves to supervision from the party and all sectors of society, and always be loyal guardians of the party and the people. Unity for strength and hard work for a bright future. Part of the speech at a spring festival gathering in 2022, January 30th, 2022. Over the past 100 years, the CPC has secured historic achievements on behalf of the Chinese people. Today, it is rallying the people and leading them on a new journey towards the second centenary goal. All that the party and the people have achieved over the past century derives from unity of effort, which is the most distinctive tradition of the CPC and the Chinese people. The party's century-long history has shown that unity means strength and that hard work leads to a bright future. Unity of effort is what a nation relies on to build its future and what a political party counts on to remain resolute. Our century-long history has also revealed that unity, under a clear goal, is the strongest, and that endeavor based on complete unity is the most powerful. We have relied on unity of effort to create a glorious history, and we will continue to do so to shape a bright future. As long as more than 1.4 billion Chinese people join forces and work together for a shared future, as long as over 95 million party members stay truly connected with the people and strive together with them for a shared future, we will be certain to achieve even greater successes that continue to astonish the world. Working for the good of the public is the greatest joy in the world. We have the people in our heart and the truth on our side. We are marching on the right track. This is what makes us strong and confident. No matter how the world changes, no matter what daunting challenges lie ahead, we will always carry forward the party's great founding spirit while bearing in mind the wisdom of our forebears that one prospers in hardship and adversity and perishes in ease and comfort. We must see things from a long-term and strategic perspective and remain mindful of potential dangers. We must unite as one and work relentlessly to advance our historic mission of national rejuvenation. The best way to celebrate our century-long history is to write a new page for the future. In the second half of this year, our party will convene its 20th National Congress to review its work over the past 5 years and draw up a blueprint for future development. In the run-up to the Congress and beyond, we must take a holistic approach to imperatives at home and abroad and implement the 5-sphere integrated plan and the 4-pronged comprehensive strategy. We must balance development with security and the COVID-19 response with economic and social development. Under the general principle of pursuing progress while securing stability, we must apply our new development philosophy in full, to the letter, and in all fields, and to move faster to create a new development dynamic. We must expand reform and opening up across the board, promote high-quality development, and continue to ensure and improve the people's well-being. By all these means, we will strive to maintain a stable and healthy economy, a prosperous and peaceful society, and a clean and wholesome political environment. We must deliver new achievements to usher in the 20th CPC National Congress. End of the Governance of China, Volume 4. You can hear all my audiobooks, including those not shared on YouTube, by following the links below at Gumroad and Patreon. Thank you for your support.